Welcome back to the Division 2. In this video I'm going to be going through the build I currently have. By no means is this the best build you're ever going to get in the game, but so far it is a super strong build for World Tier 4. It works well in solo and in groups. It's fully based on PvE. I'm not really a fan of the PvP stuff. I've not really got into it much at the moment. And I can't go and tell you do this, do that. Like, go and find this certain piece of gear. There is so much depth to building in this game. But what I will do is tell you some talents that I have on this. Like, I'll show you this is like going to be proper in depth. And I'll show you some of the talents that you might want to try and find on pieces of gear. And then with the recalibrating, you can put them onto the gear you're currently using. This is self-healing, self-reviving. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, looking at my gear, I'm a 451 gear score. I'm running the crossbow specialization. I'll explain why in a moment. The weapons I've got are the police MK17. I've got a sniper on me as well, but the ones I'm going to be running as my primary and secondary are the police MK17. I've literally just found this. It's a semi-auto rifle. It gives you 15% crit hit damage. The RPM's not amazing, the magazine size isn't great, but the damage is 35.7k. Reload time's decent. Accuracy and stability don't matter too much with the rifles. The talents are critical hits add a stack of 3% reload speed. Like, that one's not really important. I've got a 20% magazine capacity. That one's decent for this weapon. And then we have protected reload. While equipped, this weapon grants 10% bonus armor whilst you're reloading. So if there's an enemy pushing you, you need to reload your gun. That will help out a little bit. And then the mods I've got on it, I have no optics. I'm trying to find myself a extended 7.62 mag. I've done side missions, main missions, control points, everything. I can't seem to find the extended mag. But the precision one isn't too bad. It decreases the damage I do to elites, but it increases my headshot damage. So if I find myself in a battle against loads of elites, I might just take that off. The underbarrel is the short grip, just because reload speed doesn't matter too much to me. But that 10% extra critical hit damage will come in very handy. And I've got no muzzle on it because they either increase stability and decrease accuracy or do the opposite. So I've left the muzzle empty. I only have one, and that actually gives me 20% extra stability minus 10% accuracy. Then we have the SOCOM MK16. I've just found this as well. 16.9k damage. If we quickly go into there so we can see them stats without it showing the negatives and positives compared to my other gun. It's an AR. So it's fully auto, health damage is 29% extra, 60 mag, 16.9k damage, 563 RPM. Accuracy and stability are pretty good for this, the recoil's not too bad. And I've actually modded the talent on this because I had one where it did like increased weapon handling if I was in cover or something. And I switched it over from the ACR I was using because every 5 meters from the enemy I am grants me an extra 2% weapon damage. So if I'm 50 meters away, I get 20% extra damage. I've got 15% optimal range, and while equipped, resting in cover for 3 seconds removes blind and disorient status effects. Then I've gone with no optics, no muzzle, I've got the short grip underbarrel, and I've got an extended 5.56 mag, because the rate of fire doesn't matter too much. I like to have the extra rounds. Then the pistol doesn't matter too much. These are very powerful though, 21,600 damage. It's got a 17 mag size, the RPM's not too bad. And one of my talents isn't actually active. Then getting into the gear, if we go into my mask, this gives me 17,500 armor. It's part of the Murakami industry, so I get 8% health. The brand sets are something that I've tried going with, but I've found my build to be better, not focusing on those too much. I can no longer recalibrate this. You're allowed to recalibrate an item once, and I did the health earlier on, so my gear score is 464 with this. But if I could, I would take the hazard protection off, maybe, and replace it with something like bonus armor, or just something else that would help out even more. The talent for this one is headshot kills grant status effect immunity for 10 seconds. And then if we go into the backpack, I've got a 32.1k armor, part of the Geiler Guard, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure how these brand sets are pronounced. Because I have 2 of the 3 possible, I've got 5% total armor and 20% hazard protection. I've got 7,100 extra health, 5% critical hit chance, 3% extra weapon damage. Then the talents I would like to be able to get Safeguard to be active, because killing a target grants a 150% bonus to repairing and healing effects for 20 seconds, but the way my build is set up, I can't really change it so that that's active. And then you've got Insulated for 10% hazard protection. We'll go through the mods after we've gone through the gear. Then into the vest, 33.9k armor. This brand set is Overlord Armaments, so it increases my rifle damage by 10%, which definitely helps with the MK17. The critical hit damage, 12% bonus, weapon damage 8%, bonus armor just under 6,000. This is a really good talent. Bloodsucker, depleting an enemy's armor adds a stack of 20% bonus armor for 20 seconds, max stack is 5. So if you're against a load of elites, and they're all low armor, and then you go and take 5 of their armors off, you will double your armor for 20 seconds. And the talents are what I've not focused on them, but the talents definitely come in handy, because that one to boost your armor that much just makes you even more of a machine. Going into the gloves, we've got 18k armor on these. They're also part of the Guyla Guard, so that's how we get the hazard protection and the total armor 5% bonus. The attributes are 4,000 health just under and 5% assault rifle damage, which I modded. And then we have the opportunistic, destroying an enemy's weak point or breaking an enemy's armor adds 10% damage from all sources to the enemy for 20 seconds, but you have to be using a marksman, so a sniper or shotgun weapons only. Then the holster, this is a very good one, 23.4k armor. It is part of the Airoldi Holdings, which gives me 10% accuracy. The attribute is plus 13,700 health. The talent I enjoy, and that is when you reload from empty, it reloads all your weapons. So if I spray my full mag with the MK16, switch over to my rifle, fire all the rounds, reloading it from empty is going to do both guns. And then we have the knee pads, which has the best thing, in my personal opinion, on this entire build. They've got 23.5k armor. They're part of the Fenris Group AB brand set, which gives me 10% assault rifle damage, which is also good for this build. 3,400 health on the attributes. I can still, if I get something that boosts that health, I can still recalibrate it to make the gear score go up. But these two talents, 10% health on kill, so every kill I get 10% of my health back. And Patience probably is one of the best talents I've seen on any piece of gear, just because with a lot of the progress I've made through gear score, I haven't really seen too much armor regen. Like obviously you can get it on mods and stuff, but it's mainly health regen that I've seen on my build. So Patience, after being in cover for 3 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second. So after 20 seconds of being in cover and my armor's fully depleted, it will be fully regened. And you can see on the left hand side, the yellow is a level 1, the blue's at level 9, the red's at level 8. I think that's like damage is the red one, survival's the blue, and then skill's the yellow one. I've only got 99 skill power, but skill power doesn't matter too much for me. I've got 166,000 armor. I did have that almost at 200k, but then better stuff come along that's going to help me survive. So I decreased it back down. My health is 64,700. That's gone up from when I had nearly 200k armor, I had probably about 45,000 health. And then if we go and have a look at the mods quickly, in the defensive system mod slot on the backpack, I have bonus armor and shock resistance, and then the offensive, I've got optimal range and shield skill power. I don't have too many mods, so I've kind of had to stick the ones on that I have and just deal with it until I find more. The mods on the vest are 1.5% weapon damage, 2% pistol, and then 4% assault rifle damage. And then the defensive side of things, I get nearly 2,000 bonus armor, 4% health regen, and 950 armor per second regeneration. Then the gloves have 99 skill power, that's where all my skill power comes from, 4% extra grenade damage, and 1% headshot kill XP. And then the mod on the holster is 2.5% weapon damage and 1.5% critical range. I'm running the incendiary grenade just because it's part of the specialization and it's good to chuck at groups of enemies because it sets them all on fire, and when they're on fire they stand there like screaming saying help me, and it helps you get the better shot on them. My skills are the Reviver Hive, just because a lot of the time you're going to be in gunfights, you're going to be behind cover with this build, and in general a world tier 4 because it's so difficult. This will not only revive your teammates, like you can literally just sit behind cover and hold your assigned button to throw this at one of your teammates and it will get them back up. But when you're playing solo, if you go down, it auto revives you. So you don't have to worry about dying instantly. If you go down once, then maybe be a bit more cautious when you get back up. But as long as this isn't on cooldown, it will get you or your teammates back up. And then I have the Mender Seeker Mine. This is a no-brainer for me. It's a little ball that follows you around and it heals you up. You can also set it on your teammates so they can be healed. And instead of the drone, I believe the drone's been crashing a lot of games for people. But the drone, you could get it to follow you or you could set it on your teammates. But because it's a drone that flies above your head, the enemies can take it out quicker. Whereas the Seeker Mine is on the ground. So if there's enemies looking at you, you're behind cover, then they can't shoot it. What we're going to do now quickly is go into the White House. I will show you why I'm using the crossbow. And then we're going to go and take down a control point. Excuse the lag, this server's been horrible since I joined it. So, the Survivalist Specialization. If we go into it, I've got the majority of the perks. And I actually had someone ask me in the comments how you get these points. So far, the only way I've seen to do it are the daily missions. Like, I've got one currently to go do a mission on hard. It will give me Survivalist points. But when you're looking at your map, if anything says Survivalist points, that is the points you need to increase the skill tree, like get the perks. And that works for all three of the specializations, but it's the one you currently have on. So if you're running the crossbow and you go get Survivalist points from a mission, you're not going to get any for sharpshooter. You have to have that certain specialization equipped if you want to get skill points for it. But in the Survivalist one, we've got the grenades, then we've got 15% increased outgoing healing. So if I set my Seeker Mine on a friendly, they're going to get boosted healing. 15% increased protection from elites, which comes in handy, especially at World Tier 4. I like this one as well because the armor kits now repair over 5 seconds instead of instantly, but they also apply to group members within 10 meters. So if you're behind cover and you're nearly full armor, but you've got a teammate fairly close to you that's low armor, use an armor kit with right on your D-pad and it will give you both armor back. Then this is where you unlock the Mender Seeker Mine. Then you've got two mods. You can decrease the cooldown and you can increase the healing. That's the uniform. Group members get 10% bonus damage to targets with status effects. So if you set someone on fire, give them bleed, anything like that, your group members will deal 10% extra damage. There's the D50. 10% increased sidearm damage. That helps out when you're using your pistol. 15% increased assault rifle damage. That's obviously a no-brainer because I run an assault rifle on this build. Then you get custom magazines for the 5.56 AR weapons. 15% increased shotgun damage. Enemies killed while under status effects may drop crossbow bolts. That one comes in handy, especially if you're against big bosses with loads of armor. If you're spamming your crossbow at them and there's an enemy nearby that's got bleed, then if you kill them, you've got an increased chance of dropping a crossbow bolt. This one I haven't done yet, but you can get an extra chance to gain signature ammo when a target with a status effect is killed, so that basically adds on to that one. And then you've got the damage. I'm currently on tier 2, but you can see there tier 3 is going to give my crossbow 96% extra damage. And then if we have a look at my crossbow, it deals 363.2k damage. But what we're going to do now to wrap the video up is I'm going to show you some gameplay with this build. We're going to take over a control point. You can see the damage this MK17 does. 36,000 a hit pretty much. And then if I get a headshot, 62,000 for that headshot. I'm purely just aiming for the head. 62. See, and sometimes it does like 41,000 damage per normal shot. 72,000 nearly with a headshot. And then with the MK16 you can see that there's not much recoil at all. And you can see as I'm sat behind the cover, when I'm reloading you can see the blue bars on my armor. That's the extra I get whilst I'm reloading. And then my armor is actually like a third depleted. And then just sitting here, you can see it just builds back up. And there we go. We've completed it. We now have access to the supply room. I think I've done this one recently. Yeah, everything is open, so I don't get any loot. And you can see that normally my armor is regenerating, but very slowly. If I was to literally just sit behind cover, 3 seconds later, it's back to full. If we quickly go into my stats, which are this one, you can see all the stuff there. But I've got 15% all weapons damage bonus, 34% assault rifle, 15% shotgun, 12% pistol and 10% rifle. Minus 10% damage to elites. On the defense side of things, my armor's 166,000. You can see that I've got no armor regeneration at all. Well, that's what it's saying. I actually have a little bit because of one of the mods. I don't get any armor when I kill an enemy. And then you can see, like, my health regeneration is 33,600. I get 6,500 per kill. I've got 60% hazard protection. And then 60% for every resistance except 73% for the shock. And then my skills are all 99. And then I've got some Dark Zone perks. So I do have a little bit of armor regeneration because you saw it going up by itself. But sitting behind cover after 3 seconds is going to give me 5% of it back. And it just stacks until you're back to full armor. And then if I lose the armor, my health automatically regenerates. So I can heal both health and armor just by sitting behind cover. So that's the build. That is the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments. Is there other talents that I might not have found yet that are better? I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.